Okay, I will start with a little report about the work as a teacher and learning coach with Logosynthesis. And after that, I have a little case study for you from one of our books from Mathias and me. And after that, I play an interview I made this morning with a client of me, Gerion, and there was a very interesting combination between his time in the school and his problems to fly. So that is what I do in 30 minutes. And in the end, you can, if you have some questions, then we have time for it. Okay. Yeah, my name is Karsten Blauel, and I'm a teacher in Germany, and there my subjects are electrotechnics and informatics. I'm a Java coder. Many people in my school find it unusual that I also work a lot in the field of coaching and consulting. I got to know Logosynthesis through a family friend of us. She herself learned about Logosynthesis at a coaching seminar. It was an EFT seminar. She said one time, hey, do you like an experiment? Is there someone, a colleague or another guy who is really annoying you at the moment? Someone who makes you angry just thinking about them? I said, yes, of course. And these next 30 minutes have ensured that I'm now sitting here in front of the camera again and reporting my experience with Logosynthesis. I use it especially in conjunction with educational applications. My own experiences with pupils and students are particularly important for me, because it's a big mission for me to help bringing Logosynthesis into schools. And together with Mathias, I wrote 2 Logosynthesis books, as we had both documented many case studies and are both involved in educational work. A common topic in our coaching sessions is, for example, presentation anxiety. Presentation anxiety is an issue that many students struggle with. This form of anxiety usually manifests itself as nervousness or fear or presenting papers or answers in the classroom. I often see students standing at the blackboard shaking, sweating, and very unfocused. Many don't even show up and take refuge in avoidance behavior. This anxiety is not only an obstacle to students' oral performance, but can also increasingly affect their self-confidence and motivation to learn. That's a big problem. And as an educator, it's my job to recognize this fear and offer the students help. However, many teachers do not have the right tools for this, or are overwhelmed by such situations. Logosynthesis offers a promising approach here. The principles of Logosynthesis help students to very successfully identify and dissolve experiences, imprints, and beliefs that lead to presentation anxiety. This very often leads to a much more relaxed presentation in front of a class and in front of a teacher or a testing board. The application of Logosynthesis in the school context can also help pupils to understand their fears, because in the course of the support, they recognize what the reasons are or the triggers. In practice, this means that we combine coaching and counseling with the application of logosynthesis to promote not only academic performance, but also the emotional and psychological development of students. Integrating logosynthesis into the educational program helps to create a holistic education that strengthens students not only in the classroom, but also in their later lives. And that's a very important thing. The following case study of a student who had problems with an oral examination. Fear of the technical interview. Laura is 26 years old. A week after our appointment, she was due to repeat a technical interview in front of an examination board to take the final part of a trainer aptitude test. A few months ago, she had failed the first appointment. Laura talked about her experience from the previous exam date. She said that she was nervous right from the start. She didn't understand all the questions straight away and therefore had to ask more questions. This made her feel even more insecure. In one particular question, which dealt with technical terms, she was unable to give an answer. Unfortunately, she didn't pass the exam for this reason. I noticed that Laura was very restless, so I asked her what she felt in her body at that moment when she thought about the previous exam. She explained me that warmth was rising throughout her body, especially in her head and face. She also noticed that fear and shame arose and that she wanted others not to think badly of her. I asked Laura for a stress score and she put it at 9. I now wanted to know what exactly my question had caused her reactions. Laura said that she could clearly see a picture of the exam room. She saw herself and the exam board sitting at a table. She also knew that in this picture she was unable to explain the technical terms she was being asked about. I took this as a trigger for the first round of logosynthesis sentences. It was the image of the technical discussion in which I cannot explain technical terms. The image had not changed significantly after the sentences, and the shame was still perceptible. However, the thought of what others think about her is now less stressful, Laura said. The anxiety and the feeling of warmth in her body had also decreased somewhat. The stress level was now 6. I asked her about details in the picture that may have changed. Laura explained that it wasn't actually there anymore, but just a permanent image of not being able to formulate the technical terms correctly. I asked her if she thought it would be the same. She said no, but that the idea was like an endless loop inside her. Based on her comments, I formulated the following trigger. The idea that I am not formulating technical terms correctly. After these sentences, Laura calmed down, and my question about the trigger I had used previously no longer caused any significant reactions. She now put the stress level at a maximum of 2. She just had the idea that she could suddenly start stuttering. She found this strange because she had never stuttered before, not even under stress. For the third round with the logosynthesis sentences, I gave Laura the following trigger. The idea that I might start stuttering. After the sentences, Laura was no longer able to identify any stressful thoughts. Even when asked again about the initial image, there was no reaction. The stress level was now 0. We ended the session with the sentence, I'm tuning all my systems to this new consciousness. Laura successfully completed her exam a week later with a grade good. It's like B. She has since developed professionally and now works as a teacher and colleague of mine at a vocational school. And this is one example how it's possible to help students and pupils if they have problems in school, in learning, in exams and tests and so on. And there's also another influence from school that can have a negative impact on a later life as an adult. I recorded an interview with Gerion. I see him in the middle of my screen. And we talked about it in this morning. And he had problems with a fear of flying. It's interesting that the trigger for this was during his time in school. Now, the next video. Hi, Gerion.
Hi, Karsten. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'm delighted that you took the time for this interview.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, let's start directly. It was a few years ago now that you booked me for a coaching session. Back then it was about the fear of flying you had. It was also a very intensive session, as I remember. I found it particularly interesting that we ended up talking about experiences from your school days during the coaching. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yes, I had a solid fear of flying before the session. And 3.5 years ago, I had a flight in front of me. And I called you and told you like, oh, Karsten, I have fear of flying and I need a coaching right before. And we met 2 days before. And you asked me to go through the whole process mentally from coming to the airport to landing where I wanted to go. And in every step of the process, you ask me about my reactions and how it feels and how my body is reacting to it. And then you ask me where I know these sensations from. And then suddenly memories came from my time at boarding school. And yes, it was very new to me and very releasing to dissolve it.
And I think it was a very special time in your boarding school.
Yes.
Can you explain which special trigger point we found? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember that quite well. It was two. First, it was the security check and boarding school. We were checked and our rooms were checked. And I had a cupboard where I had my personal stuff. And it wasn't something forbidden. And it was just my personal stuff. And I wanted that nobody goes in there and looks into it. And my diary, for example. And this was intense. This like trauma was activated on the security check. And after the security check, there was this tunnel where you go into the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this image of this tunnel and my whole body was shaking. And when I was flying before, I couldn't explain me why I had so bad feelings with flying. So, and you asked me about what is bad with tunnels.
I remember.
Have you feel driving through a tunnel? No. Do you feel that a tunnel can break down? No. But do you associate with a tunnel? And then it, boom. It associates with the medicamentation of ADHD I got on the boarding school. And I got very high medicamentation of ADHD. And it drove me into a tunnel. It like deleted everything else from my life except this one task in science or stuff like that. So, and this was the time I was diagnosed with very high intelligence and ADHD. And boom, it drove me into this very small tunnel. And then you asked me about the medicamentation in my body, and I could find the energetic structures and remnants of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you gave me a sentence, 3 sentences, to dissolve it. And it was till this point one of the most intense sentences I had. It felt like a vacuum cleaner is going through my whole body, and after this session, I believe until today, I'm the one person with the most fun flying. When I'm in a plane, I have fun. Flying is very cool for me now. But it was, yes, very intense and very releasing. And it was 2 days before the flight. 2 days later, it was my first easy flight in my life.
And how much flights did you have?
Till then, in the last 3 years, 10, around about 10. Yeah.
And how is it now from one flight to the next flight?
Yes, the first flight, there was still a little bit shake in the like a background noise. It wasn't that I had a fear or something or stress during flying, but I couldn't sleep. I wasn't that relaxed 2 days after the session that I could sleep while flying. And the flight months later, nothing. It's just fun, especially departure and landing. I really enjoy it. And I believe in the second flight, there was a woman next to me, and I looked at her and I knew she had fear of flying, because I was sure I was looking the same way years ago. And I felt like, no, I'm here to encourage this woman. Like, hey, it's beautiful weather. It's a good day for flying, and we get this, and you can hold my hand.
Okay.
Yeah, till now, it's good.
Oh, very beautiful.
Yeah, and since then we have our working alliance deepened, and we had many sessions more, and it's every time releasing and long-term effects.
Yeah, the last session it's only a few days ago.
Our last session was 3 days ago. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still integrating.
Okay. Take your time. Gerion, thank you for this insight into your experience on this topic. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and above all, lots of fun on your next flights.
Thank you very much for your company, and
Okay.
I'm glad to help.
Gerion, see us later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, it's a combination of the experience and the hard time in the school, and also there's a healthy medical value is inside this session. It was a very interesting hour, or 1.5 hours. Okay, do we have any question to me to the topic school, learning support, and logosynthesis?
Yeah,
Thomas.
I can say something. So I practice coaching mixed with therapy also, and I just came across logosynthesis recently, so I didn't dive very deep. I use this logosynthesis day to learn more. I have a question. When you, it seems like you always go through the body sensations when you ask someone about the stress or the challenge they are going through. What is the balance between, so in my practice I do inner child recovery and reparenting and bringing back the inner child, the past traumatic experience, to the present, so it can be solved here. And I also use body sensations, like what is the form and where is it. So it seems like it's always triggering the memory, the traumatic memory in the person. But do you have experience when it's harder to, when clients have a bigger protective mechanism, that the traumatic memory doesn't come back? Or how do you deal with this experience of, let's say, denial or dissociations from these body or emotional root?
If I have a client, a student, or adult people, It's important to take the time, to give the time that it needs. It's not, it's not my target to dig deep and deeper and deeper to find the first initial event and to find the trauma, the traumatic experience. I always start in the here and now, in the present time. And if we use the topic in school, the presentations, the next situation is the presentation tomorrow. Or I use the last presentation. When was it? 3 days ago, and it was terrible. Okay, close your eyes. Remember, what do you see? And we scan always. First, we scan the body. What will happen in the body? Is the coldness? Is there warmth? Do you feel nervous in the body? That what we do in Logosynthesis. And then I ask, what emotion do you know? Do you feel? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it shame, to be shamed, and so on? And then the next step is I ask, what belief do you have? Belief about yourself, belief about the other student, the teacher. What do you believe about the world? And that is, we ask in Logosynthesis at first for the reaction. And the body, the emotions, the beliefs, these are the reactions. And there's something, what is responsible for this reaction? And that is the next step we do. And first, we are looking for the reaction, and then we're looking what is the trigger that you react. If you think about the next presentation, it's only your thoughts. You are not in front of the board, of the blackboard. You're at home and you have your paper, you have your PowerPoint presentation. You're not in front of the board. But if you think about it, oh, it's time to go to bed. Oh, it's time to go to shower. Oh, it's time to go shopping, and so on. And so I start, I use these thoughts or the pictures, the images about this last situation on a blackboard. And we can use power of the Logosynthesis to decrease or to resolve these pictures and thoughts and memories about this. And if there is no picture, no more picture, there's no reaction. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I think we have to be back in 42 minutes.
Seconds.
I say thank you very much for your time.